Don't you know drugs are everywhere, drugs are everywhere, drugs are everywhere. You can't stop it. Gonna wind up like a pop in a bowl, and so it's one kind of day. Drugs are everywhere, drugs are everywhere, drugs are everywhere.
Hey, Murph here. I'm a former heroin addict, current alcoholic, and you're tuned into Self-Medicated Weekly Dose, a podcast all about drugs and the people who use them. As always, this program is inspired by the harm reduction movement, informed by my personal experience using all sorts of drugs for damn near 30 years, and enlightened by my special guests. And speaking of, I am jazzed to the moon for today's guest. He's an LA-based writer, stand-up comedian, and proud papa, originally from Chicago, Illinois. He's written for the exceptional Comedy Central show Southside, Nickelodeon's All That, Freeform's Grownish, and of course, The Chris Gethard Show on True TV. Please welcome to the program, Mr. Will Miles. Hey, settle. We're fired up today to see Will Miles.
Hell yeah, I'm fired up to be here.
It's good to see you. It's been a while. We were talking off mic a little bit about how we've both become fathers and we're losing our minds, but it's lovely at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it is weird, but it's like, especially as like we were discussing, when we were working together, the kind of guys we were. It's like,
yes.
And both of us were with our partners still, but it's like, and then we're like, but we were all like partying.
We went hard. Like if I did, what was it? We did the show on a Wednesday night, right? If I had even attempted one of those Wednesday nights now, I got to take like a week off.
Same. I just turned 40. I had a birthday and I went to a bar for it. And the next 3 days, I think, I was like, Jesus Christ, this is rough. And I forgot about Hair of the Dog. So all Saturday, I was just in pain. And then Sunday, I finally at brunch, or whatever it was, I had a drink. And I was like, oh, God, why didn't I do that yesterday? It would have made it so much easier. It's like,
yes, we've gotten so old, we've just forgotten even how to lick our wounds at this age. It's just like, well, this is it for me. I'm done.
And then but it's like, remembering that is like, oh, man, if I do this again, that means I have to drink for like weeks on end. It's like, I can't do that.
No, Lord, no. It's exactly. You keep kicking the can down the road. I'm like, at this point, I'm aging in dog years. It's like every year now of that kind of drinking, it's like I'm adding 7 onto my life.
For sure.
And I'll tell you, I'll mention it again because I'll never stop mentioning it. Gethard was on the show, and we said this off mic, just for our children someday, if they ever do hear this podcast, know how cool we were that we smoked weed with Method Man in the green room
100%
after a taping of the Gethard show. So your fathers are cool. I'm getting ahead of it. Get ahead of it.
It's also funny because I've been seeing like a little bit on Instagram about how everyone's describing Method Man as gorgeous now. It's like, oh, you should have seen the Chris Gethard show, writing, production, and every other part of the staff. All the women and people who like men were like, he's fine as shit. And I remember
so fine.
Our wives, the current mothers of our children, were all over him.
and we were,
we were too, yeah.
So were we,
yeah.
Frankly. I mean, it was
undeniably a very attractive man. So it's like, yeah,
he really is a strapping gentleman.
Yeah.
And such a just so wonderful to sit there and just be like, yo, man, I got my own weed here. Everybody's trying to pull out these vapes, these newfangled. He's like, no, I know what I need. And he, to hang out with us afterwards. Just a great guy.
I also feel like the building security didn't want us to do it, but then they saw it was Method Man. They were like, okay, yeah.
I mean, that's absolutely what it is because I was told as a cast member, I was told about hitting that vape in the stairwell. So they were already on to me, but then they saw Method Man. They're like, well, all right, Murph, you fucking asshole. One more week of this nonsense for you.
Don't invite Snoop Dogg on here. It's like, okay.
Yeah, exactly. We had to keep up in our game before they ran us out of that studio.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for being here. We're gonna dive right into it. We got a jam-packed program here. We're starting things off, Will, with a little number that I call the substance report.
This is the question: do junkies' lives matter?
Well, the mainstream media's narrative on substance use has always been trash. So I like to take some of the top drug-related stories in the news and give them proper coverage, from a user's perspective. A lot of these anchors on the news, I don't know whether they use drugs or not, but they're not coming forthright with it. So and their coverage leaves a lot to be desired. So this piece this week that I pulled is a sad, but we'll make it funny.
Okay.
also might not be sad. It might be happy. I don't know. A lot of people are enjoying people dying these days, depending on how much you hate them. And this guy was somewhat hated. But earlier this month, as we know, the title of this article here is just Pat Robertson, Christian televangelist and one-time presidential candidate, dies at age 93. So Pat left us earlier this month, and he'd been around a long time. Spewing hate in the name of Jesus for many decades. And for some of the kids out there, I got a lot of, younger kids listening to this. Again, for my daughter, your father was cool. There were younger kids listening to us. I'm talking, when I say kids, I'm saying like in their, late 20s, early 30s. But these kids, they might not know who he is. So I got a little taste of some of Pat Robertson's, venom here, just to give you kind of a gist if you're not familiar with the man's work.
The gays are going to make you conform to them. You're going to say you like anal sex, a couple of same-sex guys kissing. Well, that makes me want to throw up. But you look carefully at the Bible, what would have happened in Jesus' time if two men decided they wanted to cohabit together? They would have been stoned to death.
And so on and so on and so on. Just decades of that. Nonsense. But, the reason you might be wondering, well, what the hell is a drug podcast? Pat Robertson, so great. So he hates the gays, and so we get that. But why the hell is he on this show? Well, it's funny because for all the shit that I disagree with Pat, which is basically pretty much everything he said, I thought, until I came across this little gem, that somehow he had a period in his life where he became pro decrim. He was of the marijuana decrim crowd. He kind of joined in for legalizing marijuana. And I don't know what possessed him. The devil, the devil's lettuce possessed him. But he had a period where he kind of went off on this in the 700 Club, and I can only imagine what in the world his audience was thinking as they were witnessing this. But here's a little clip of something that I can get behind with Pat, because I like to find at least one thing in every pile of shit. You know what I mean? To be like, hey, was there one thing that they did that I could agree with? So we got this little chestnut here that he left us with, Pat Robertson.
I became sort of a hero of the hippie culture, I guess, when I said I think we ought to decriminalize the possession of marijuana. I just think it's shocking how many of these young people wind up in prison and they get turned into hardcore criminals because they have had possession of a very small amount of a controlled substance. I mean, the whole thing is crazy. Terry, it's time for change. This business about drug offenses, I mean, it's time we stop locking up people for possession of marijuana.
Well, we kind of pick and choose our drugs of choice, don't we?
That's right. You don't lock them up for boozing. I mean, that unless they kill somebody on the highway.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yay.
Well, what in God's name, what in the name of the good Lord Jesus do you think was going through Pat's mind in this?
I don't know. Maybe it's one of those things where like he was getting old and they gave him some weed and he was like, this is bad. This is great.
Yeah, it might just be as simple as that. He might have had some, those knees were getting old.
Yeah.
Getting sore, walking up and down, the 700 Club. So, yeah, somebody gave him some medicinal and he was like, holy shit.
I also don't want to judge him as racist, but he's obviously so homophobic that when somebody's that homophobic, you're like, well, you got to have some racism in there too. But
he would be a rare breed if he was like that homophobic. But then if he was just so open to black folks, I would be shocked.
But I think it might have been like, oh, he saw a bunch of white people get turned. Because the same happens to black people too, where it's like they go in for weed and then all of a sudden they're in there for, recidivism and all that shit. And it's like, yeah, maybe he saw white people experiencing that and was like, whoa, 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 whoa. Why is this happening to us too? Like, I understand if we're locking up all them and then they turn into hardened criminals, but like it's happening to white people too. We got to stop this.
Yeah, it's all it takes is one person in the ministry to be like, oh my, a good white Christian boy was caught.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny because he ran for fucking president. He was kind of the one who whipped together the evangelical base, kind of made that for the Republicans.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
The old Bush, he was running in the Republican primaries against HW, and he had some momentum until I guess whatever deal, with the devil was made there. But basically HW was like, can you bring this following that you have, kind of into my fold here, and I'll just pretend I'm like really religious all of a sudden. coming off as the head of the CIA, and now I'm like, yeah, and Reagan's vice president. I'm like, no, I'm so religious all of a sudden.
Yeah, thou shalt not kill, even though I killed a lot of people, but thou shalt not kill.
So many people. Yeah. Yeah, and my son will be super born again because he's doing a ton of coke and booze right now. But when he, in 15 years, when he becomes president, oh man, he's going to be born again.
Hunter is like, I'm going to be president at some point too. But
Hunter Biden, yes, he probably will.
It is funny. I mean, politics are all bullshit, clearly. Now it's exposed, but now it's been that way forever.
Thinking of that, like at that time though, it was kind of like, a wave of like evangelicals just, I mean, it was close, I think, to being like a Pat Robertson potential run there. So it was also interesting too, as a politician, that he would like kind of go out on a limb later. And I think this is from 2008 or something. So it's like, it's just interesting. I wonder, like sitting at home, it's just also one of those, like, people hear what they want to hear when they're watching whoever the fuck it is, they're, whatever talking head they like. I feel like people are generally like I feel like all the grandmas were probably just forgot that one. Like, oh, that was the year Pat we still sent in our checks to the 700 Club, but Pat was a little wacky for a year.
Yeah. He must have been going through dementia to think weed was okay, but yeah.
For sure. I also wonder if he got really stoned, how much could he hate? Like, how much could you hate being really stoned? I think that's like, and again, he's also doing it's a lot of it's performative. I don't even fucking know how much, he truly believes, and it doesn't really matter because he spewed it all over the country. But like, I wonder if you got really high, like how much shade could you throw when you're really high? Cause I cool out pretty quick.
Me too. Which is where I'm also sometimes confused with Chappelle. I'm like, I mean, Common had a lyric where he said, I'm open-minded like a pothead. It's like, yeah, that's so true. As a pothead, I can tell you right now, everybody's cool. That's the general vibe. I'm like, yeah, everybody's pretty cool. Whatever you got going on, hey, I agree somehow. I don't know.
Yes. And I've smoked weed with some interesting characters.
I used to smoke with Republicans, like back in the day before 2016. I used to smoke with Republicans and be like, hey, man, I don't see it that way, but here, pass the joint.
Yes. Before you had to quickly check on people's like alt-right credentials. Like, it's now like, are you a white nationalist or are you just like a Republican? Like, what's your deal? No, I mean, I've definitely smoked weed with a lot of people all over the map. And I think it's like, weed is definitely one of those. I mean, I think drugs in general, but definitely weed is one of those where, you share a joint and it's just kind of like, all right, we're here now and we're sharing this joint and nothing else really matters.
Yeah. Because there's definitely, I mean, we're getting into both of our histories here, but I've definitely smoked with like people who've killed people,
Yep.
people either on their way or coming directly from jail. And the general vibe is like, we get high and play video games. We forget we shed every other part of ourselves when we sit there and smoke weed. You'll be smoking with a gang member and it's like, you really care about that other gang that much? It's like, not right now. I don't really give a shit. Yeah.
Not now.
Yeah.
Only when mixing liquor. You know what I mean? Only when the liquor comes out. Could it then take a sharp right turn?
Yes.
But like, if you're just smoking weed and playing video games, it's like, I feel like there's a communal aspect to it. It's just kind of like, that's just it. I mean, it's very difficult. And not even in a cliche way of like, oh, hard to get motivated and get off the couch to like fight somebody. I'm like, no, actually the headspace. Mm-hmm. I'm not even saying like if you're smoking an indica, whatever, even a sativa, whatever it is you're getting into. It's like, I still feel like just in general, you just don't have that, it just takes that edge off. So
yeah, that hate edge, whatever that hate edge is.
Whatever that hate edge is, man. So Pat Robertson just like, took a couple bong rips and like sucked 100 dicks, hopefully, and just like came to. He just had a come to Jesus moment across the board. Well, Pat, we'll see you in hell. Or I'll see you in hell. I'm not going to damn you to hell, Will.
I kind of believe in reincarnation anyway. I don't know.
Ooh, all right.
Yeah.
So we'll be back. We'll be forever smoking. Yeah. We're talking about the 80s and 90s as a heyday. Another thing that I feel like kind of saw its heyday in the 80s and 90s when we were growing up is the anti-drug PSA. Kind of, the best ones. There's still a few floating around out there that they put out on the net, but like I'm talking primetime television. These were like, plastered all over our TVs growing up. And, I always thought the PSA stood for propaganda, stigma, and ALF.
Losers are users, so don't use drugs. Don't use drugs. Ah!
Come to find out, it's not propaganda, stigma, and ALF. It's public service, something or other. But there's been a lot of great ones. And I thought having you on, I was like, let me see if I can find something that Will would enjoy. And there's this piece, and you may have seen this, but there's this piece. There's a lot of celebs getting in on the game, on the PSA, anti-drug PSA game back in the day. And there's this wonderful little song, because everybody loves to talk about the Super Bowl shuffle.
Yeah.
And you as a Chicago guy, of course, very familiar with that Dynamite Bears team and their Super Bowl shuffle. But there's another team that got in on the game here, but they kind of got in on the Nancy Reagan Just Say No game with their rap game. So the Los Angeles Lakers, the Showtime Lakers, did a little rap number here, a little for Just Say No. And, I just pulled it in its entirety. We can kind of skip around. We can see how we're feeling about it. I don't know if this, I feel like I can play this. I think it's in the public domain at this point, as long as we're commenting on it. I don't think anybody's coming for these beats. But, it's all of the greats, of course. It's Magic. It's Kareem. It's Pat Riley. It's Michael Cooper. It's Kurt Rambis.
Worthy?
It's all your...
if anybody was not anti-drugs, it was Kurt Rambis.
If anybody's not anti-drugs and should not be laying verses on a track, it's Rambis. Rambis is just getting extremely fucked up. Can't hold a beat to save his life. But this is Just Say No by the LA Lakers. And, feel free to chime in here. Exceptional graphics for the listeners.
And that is such like graphics. That's a Casio beat if I've ever heard one. That's like
big time. Just set it and forget it. Like that's just a boop boop, and you walk away, and you're off to the graphics package. Yeah. This is VHS. Just come alive here.
Absolutely.
Here's the Murderers Row. I mean, this was a fucking ball club. Say what you will about their musical talents.
That's Pat Riley in the suit, obviously. Yeah.
That's Riley in the suit. Yeah, we got Magic, Cooper, old ass Kareem, but still, Kareem's still bringing it. Worthy, I guess Worthy's in there somewhere.
I think I see Worthy in the red shirt.
Yes. That's him. Yeah, they each kind of get to lay down a verse here and kind of take their moment.
Also of note, how much of the NBA was actively on cocaine most of the season. The NBA was filled with cocaine.
That's what's also absurd. This was the time where cocaine was being done on the court.
Yeah, definitely in the locker room.
Yeah, toots, and we're in halftime toots.
Yeah.
And we're back out for a second half. Yeah, the Lakers would be like down 12 at halftime, and they just come out and blow Milwaukee out. It's also funny to see this Just Say No. And of course, just a very a fun team that they had they partied. Let's just say, to say the least.
We're the LA Lakers, and we're here to say that the drugs are killing every day. Cocaine and crack, it's all got to go. We got to learn to just say no.
I'm Kareem, the captain of the team. I don't need drugs, I got a higher thing. My sky hook makes the team look good, but there's a hook we got to shake from the neighborhood.
All right, quick assessment of Kareem's skills.
Kareem is also in a separate room, so it's like
yes. Kareem is in his home studio,
exactly,
aka the guest bathroom at his house.
Kareem also a known pothead at this point, I believe.
That's right, smoking some. Yeah, so he's got a higher thing going on, man. He's got He's smoking some trees, and he didn't even leave the house for this.
Yeah, at all. He was probably high then. Also, is that Dolph Lundgren on the right there?
Who is that?
I don't know.
Is that Ivan Drago? If he dies, he dies. Yeah, I don't know who that is because it ain't Rambis. Rambis is in the fucking Hawaiian shorts and
Rambis is right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Rambis clearly.
Wait, who's the other goofy white guy on the Showtime Lakers?
I don't know. That is so confusing.
Should have looked this up. But he definitely looks like Dolph Lundgren. He's got the my Nana used to wear. These are like the cataracts.
Yeah, what, blue blockers, right? Are they blue?
Blue blockers. Yeah, they're the big fat blue blockers. I don't know who the fuck this guy is, but he's in the mix.
My name is Weston, on the court, I'm rough. Out here on the street, we all gotta get tough. Say no to drugs, call the drug man's bluff.
Call me Smurf and give my team my best. When you really care, you can do no less. But the game of life is more serious, 'cause drugs make losers of all of us.
My name is Michael, but they call me Cool. My main hangout is up around the hoop. We play hard, but we still play smart. We never let drugs tear us apart.
Why wouldn't they? Now, you're in LA. You're on top of the world. I know you're doing like a cheesy fucking thing for the kids, whatever the hell they think that is going on here. But why not bring in some, like, You can't fucking call Chuck D. You can't just be like, bring somebody in to just to fucking write something for you, because this is tough.
That is, I can't say. I think I went to college with Michael Cooper's daughter, so I can't say anything negative about his rap. His rap is great. Everybody else was.
Wait, you went to college with Coop's daughter?
I think I do. I know this girl who I went to college with. Her dad was an NBA player with the last name Cooper, and she was from California. I was gonna look it up, but I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the same one. It would be insane if it wasn't. I guess not. Maybe not. Different Cooper altogether. All right. Well, this guy's rap was trash. Yeah.
Fuck this guy.
Yeah, fuck this guy.
Coop's flow sucks. We can speak freely now. It's bad, and I get why it would just you'd phone it in, but I'm like, I don't know. I feel like why not have some fun with it? You're gonna look like a clown.
The white guy's also standing like this. The white dude, yeah, he's like this the whole time.
Rambus did the fucking hee-haw lean. Rambus he had like a long piece of straw coming out of his mouth, I think, when he did that lean.
I'm AC Green with the word. You can't win the game with your vision blurred. Train your child the way to go, and when the drug man comes, he'll say no.
The drug man. Magic was just getting his dick sucked there.
Yeah.
Beneath the camera, they got an O face from Magic on that one.
He left fucking 8 women in one hotel room to go record this,
just to scoot over and do this. He's like, let's hit this quick. You're getting one take out of me because I got him. I got the bubbles are going over in the hotel.
I'm Byron Scott with the jump shot. I like the idea of being on top, and the top's in reach of every man if drugs aren't in his master plan.
I'm feeling Byron Scott by far.
I am too, yeah.
At this point, more than anyone.
That's why he's a great coach. That's all it is.
That's right. Yes, the respect. And here comes Rambus, just a cartoon character.
I'm Kurt Rambus. They call me Superman, and I'm known to give.
Did they call him Superman?
I didn't hear that before this, but
no, that's I think self-appointed there. They call me Superman. All right, well.
Kurt Rambus. They call me Superman, and I'm known to give a helping hand. Now there's a rival out there on the streets. We all got to work together to be.
We're the time, but with no relation, and we stand together for a drug-free nation. His word with the sweet slam dunk.
I can make a man without that junk. The winning point is what I'm passing you. Be like us and make the right move. Say no.
Say no.
James Worthy comes in like fucking Barry White with the bass in his voice.
Wait, but that guy with Michael Cooper, he said we have the same last name, but we're no relation. I think that's my friend's dad. Yeah, for sure. Right?
Okay. I mean, there can't be 3 fucking.
No way.
You're right. That was the same last name. That's right.
That's crazy.
Yeah, which Cooper is this?
No relation. It's like, all right.
Yeah. No.
That's crazy. 2 Coopers.
2 Coopers and a Worthy.
That's definitely her dad, because I know he has it was a big deal that her dad was in the NBA. It was not like something that we brushed over. It's like, oh, he was a side character. It's like, oh no, I think he has a ring. Yeah.
I mean, if he played with the Showtime Lakers, then that is a big deal, and that has to be.
Yeah, that's definitely him. Yeah, that's funny.
It's funny if later in the song, a third Cooper pops up from the back, and I'm the third Cooper, and I'm here to say, I'm still not the one that will not.
That guy was fucking built too. That's crazy. The other Coop?
No, he was jacked. I mean, all these. So they got the tanks. There's a couple of sweet tanks with the guns out here. I mean, this is top. Everybody's in great shape. Magic is just,
Magic looks so tired.
He does. No, he looks, he absolutely, he has been up for 4 days. He is like, I mean, he has come all the sweat and come and he has no fluids left in his body. I'm like, yeah, Magic a fucking Gatorade, for Christ's sake. He's about to pass out here. He needs some electrolytes. There's Kareem back at the shower at his guest house.
Gotta play the right way to keep them moving up. It seems that life costs more each day, but drugs is a crime I can't afford to pay. Don't need drugs to make us roll. We dribble, shoot, and slam dunk. You can win too without that jump.
Here comes Pat Riley for the big finish.
My name is Pat, coach of the team. They say my plays really do the thing. So I'm here to tell you the best play of all. Say no to drugs because life is a ball. Ball.
No. As Rambus just throws a child up in the air. For the big finish, my goodness.
Who knew James Worthy had that deep a voice? You know,
Just say no. Hey, baby. Didn't work. Didn't work because Just Say No is just a silly. It's silly, especially as the people themselves are saying yes to everything.
I mean, look at Pat Riley, and I would never accuse him of doing cocaine, but he has the vibe of somebody who does so much cocaine.
The hair, I mean, he slicks his hair with cocaine.
Yeah, the slick back, that's all I think.
It's cocaine hair gel that just seeps through his scalp and just continues for him to be high.
Also,
it's like some people rub it on the gums.
Yeah.
Riley rubs it on the scalp.
Also, the decision to go from LA to Miami just screams cokehead. It's like, you could have spent your whole career in LA, but you chose to end it all in Miami. It's like, you do blow, man. I'm sorry.
Where's it? Right. If you're going to leave LA, you're like, well, if I'm looking for some coke, there's only one other spot. I'm taking my nose candy talents to South Beach. Just Say No. They all said yes. So did we.
Yeah.
I'm going to get you out of here, Will. But before I do, I like to end every episode. I like to take my guests, because my listeners like to know a little bit more about you. They learned some stuff today. I learned some stuff today about you. It was wonderful catching up.
Yeah, hell yeah.
We're going to do the Kurt Rambis lean into the user's studio. Well, the user studio, I actually lost my glasses. I saw that you had some glasses earlier.
I did, yeah.
This whole bit went down I moved into a new place. So great. You're wearing them. I usually put them on because I do like a James Lipton. This is like inside the actor studio, but for drug users. Unfortunately, I've lost my glasses.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to get a new pair. They're fake anyway. They don't have any lenses in them, but for the whole effect. So just, you're wearing them. This is great. So I'll start with the questions as if I'm wearing glasses.
Ooh.
We end our podcast session with the weekly dose version of the questionnaire that was used masterfully for 24 years by the late James Lipton inside the actor's studio. Will Miles, the first question is, what is your favorite drug?
I want to say weed, but I think my actual favorite is mushrooms.
Ah, the magical journeys with the psilocybin mushrooms. I might be on board with you. I had a wonderful trip recently. Took some mushrooms with a state trooper, a Pennsylvania state trooper.
Wow.
At my brother's bachelor party, yes. Oh, boy. ACAB indeed. It was lovely. When you get on a human level, I mean, oh, boy. But there was a lot said. A lot said. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Will, what is your least favorite drug?
Oh, that's good. That I've done or that I just don't necessarily like?
That's up to you.
Either one. All right. Well, the reaction I've seen from ketamine makes me not like it. And I've been sort of doing it on stage, but when me, Clark, and Kenny hosted Knitting Factory, there was this girl.
What a tremendous show, too, by the by. One of the things I miss about New York City.
Same here. But there's a girl who was on ketamine in the front row, and just it took up so much of the show, both figuring out what ketamine was at the time for my part, and then also realizing that she was in a K-hole at some point during the show because she fell asleep and then got up and then passed out. And this is all in the middle of a comedy show. It was like, why did you come to this on Special K?
Yes. And of course, she sucks you into her K-hole.
Yeah. So
she sucks the whole room into the K-hole.
The whole audience is in her K-hole. And then there's like talk of ambulances, and all of her friends are like, no, don't let anyone know she's on K. So then we had to like also sweep it under the rug and also try to help her. So then we had to sit her outside with us for hours as the show's going on, trying to make sure she's okay while she goes in and out of sleep. It's like, okay, that drug doesn't seem like it's good. Not for me. I don't want that experience. Whatever she experienced, I don't like it.
Look, I never tell people to use drugs or to not use drugs. It's up to you. I will say that, I've had ketamine experiences that were wonderful.
Okay.
But, it's one of those things that if it's too much too quickly, the K-hole can be a very dark place. I think ketamine is better used, and as they're utilizing it for mental health, PTSD, I understand it's wonderful for.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah,
but that's not in the sort of macro doses it sounds like that young lady was getting into.
But for me personally, cocaine was never fun. It was fun once maybe, but it didn't take. I didn't like, for somebody who's so chill, it's not good to have that much of an upper,
I feel you. You know yourself better than anyone.
There you go. Yeah.
What age were you the first time you found yourself under the influence?
Of weed?
Of anything?
Maybe 17 when I first smoked weed. And I don't think I did it right because I think I was smoking it and blowing it right out.
Ah, yes.
So I think I was like, I do know the first song I heard where I knew I was actually high was Explosive by Dr. Dre off of the album 2001.
2001, oh yes.
Which I believe came out in 2000 or 99.
Yes.
Whenever it came out. But I remember being like, Explosive was on, and I was a latchkey kid, so I got home and put the stereo on the CD that I had and played it in a row. And then I went past the ones with so many curse words and just rude things, but songs I love to this day. But then I got to Explosive, which was just so chill. And I was like, what is this feeling?
Yes. And you synced up.
Yeah. It synced up perfectly. And then the rest of my life is a result of Explosive by Dr. Dre.
Yes. What an outstanding album for your first stoner experience. What celebrity's overdose death has affected you the most?
Mac Miller.
Mac Miller,
I think. Yeah.
What is your favorite slang word for cannabis?
Weed.
Classic.
If it were 1970, I like watching things where they call it grass.
Yes, let's say it's 1970. Grass, yes, you're in the grass.
Grass is great, yeah.
You're in the tall stuff.
Love the term grass, but it doesn't make much sense today.
It's hard to be taken seriously.
Yeah.
In the TikTok era, smoking grass.
Yeah.
That's what Kareem was smoking in his shower studio.
As he was saying, don't say no. Yeah.
Yes. What drug would you like to deal for a living?
Ooh, that's good. I think that'll also be mushrooms. I've never bought mushrooms from somebody I wasn't very interested in their life.
What drug would you absolutely not like to deal under any circumstances?
Crack, cocaine, anything like that. Heroin. Yeah. Just based on hearing some of your stories and then the fact that I lost friends off heroin, I want nothing to do with heroin either.
Yes, I hear you. It's a very demanding gig as well.
It is, yeah.
And finally, if heaven exists, what would you like to hear Mac Miller say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Oh, that's great. I would like to hear him say, do you want to make a song with me? That would be cool.
And I will get high to that song like it's the very first time. I would love to hear that track. Better than anything the Showtime Lakers have put down, I'll tell you that much. That's for goddamn sure. Oh, Will Miles, these are your drug users. Will Miles is so delightful to me. Just such a warm presence, a light in every room that you're in.
Well, thank you.
Hugs to your family, and it was wonderful seeing you. What would you like the listeners to follow you, to check you out? What projects? Any plugs here?
Just if you're on Instagram at Mr. Will Miles, there'll be updates on my career. I'm writing a book. Check out Gethard's book. I'm in that. I think you might be too.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Then I want to write one of my own. I don't know what it's about yet. That's the next phase of my life, especially if this writer's strike goes any further. So
hell yeah, solidarity with the writers for sure. It's a beautiful thing to see.
Yeah, hell yeah. Thanks for having me, man. Great seeing you too.
Of course, Will. Good to see you, bud. And thanks so much to the listeners for tuning in. This has been your weekly dose.
Hey America, there's no use of sleeping with your children, with your daughters, with your sons, and with your husband.
Self-Medicated Weekly Dose is hosted and produced by me, Murph Meyer, with support from Pop Culture Collaborative. Our theme song is My Congressman by 15, courtesy of Jeff Ott and Hopeless Records. Original artwork and production design by Diana Kolsky. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed the program, you can listen to new episodes of Weekly Dose every Wednesday, wherever you get your podcasts. While you're at it, subscribe to the Self-Medicated YouTube channel to see new video clips from the show each week. Follow me on Instagram at Murph Meyer. And for some top-shelf harm reduction resources, head over to selfmedicatedpod.com. Also, don't forget, you can call the Weekly Dose podcast anytime to leave me a voicemail message with your thoughts on drugs and the people who use them. Just pick up the phone and dial 443-MK-ULTRA. All right, that's about it for me. I'll see you next week. Love and solidarity. Goodbye.